Cool. Let's review this one. Okay, so we start with like queen's pawn opening, queen's gambit decline, e3, black's challenge center with c5, and we play knight f3, knight c6. I think both sides play really well until here. So bishop e2. Well, I feel like we can play like a3 because black could probably taking our pawn and then bishop to b4 to divide the dark square bishop. So I feel like we can play a3 a bit ahead. So we play bishop e2. It's not a problem, but if we play the light square bishop too soon, so once black take our pawn, so we have to move the bishop again to basically move 2 steps to c4. So yeah, so that's why we can have some patience before moving the bishop, like pawn to a3, for example, play some defensive move or positional move. Yeah, so black doesn't take the pawn. I think black can take the pawn. And once take the pawn, we can play a6 and b5 to attack the bishop. Yeah. Yeah, one more thing. Actually, the reason we play a3 is also very similar. If we take the c5 pawn, bishop to c5, and then we can play b4. So b6, castle, bishop to b7. So b3. Well, I feel like this diagonal is a bit problematic. So what about queen a4? And then we are going to play knight d4. So the knight is pinned. It's a bit annoying. And also, yeah, not only the queen, the knight, once one white take the pawn, bishop to b5, and this diagonal is weak. So I feel like white can play knight a4. So b3 is a bit defensive. h5. Okay, black wants to attack the king side. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, because there are like two like pawn exchange at the center, so we need to also think about the king safety because it's very quick or very easy for either side to open up the center. So if the center is open, our king is unsafe in the center. So I think black should castle as early as possible, and once we play h5 or even like h4, if we want to attack the king side, and then if we castle to the king side, our king is exposed because the pawns are pushed to like too much. So I feel like it maybe the appropriate battlefield is at the center or at the queen side. So if you choose king side as the battlefield, we need to think about the king safety of our own king. So white play h3, rook g. Yeah, I can tell black is going to push g5, g4. So black really want to attack the king side, but the center is actually a bit problematic. So I feel like we can win a pawn basically. If we take the pawn, bishop take that, and we take. What can we do? Yeah, white can actually win the pawn, right? Rook d8, we can take the queen. Queen take, we can take the knight. And black doesn't have any way to like queen d4, discover attack, but black cannot win anything. Queen to h5. Yeah. Oh, okay, no. Bishop. Queen to c5. Yes. If you take, I can take that. If you take this, I can take that. So even though I have double pawn, I have my king is actually safer than the black king because the king is at center. And if you castle to the queen side, actually the c5 is open. Yeah, I think in this case white is better than black. So we can open up the center when our opponent put the king at the starting position. So knight g5. Okay, we win the pawn. It's also good. g4, g6. Knight queen to g4. okay, so black chose to castle to the long side. Yeah, that's what I said. So actually, at the beginning, if black doesn't play h5 and castle to the king side, the king is should be very safe. But in this case, first of all, we cannot attack the white king anymore because the h pawn is captured, and also the g pawn cannot be pushed up, and also we have some weakness on this diagonal, so we have to castle to the long, to the left side. But actually, the queen side is not safe because we can open up the c file to attack the king. We'll take the f7. We'll take that with the pawn. a6, e4. Yeah, I think trying to open up the center is good, but this way doesn't work because black can play d4. So black closed the center. And the problem is, when we knight move, we will lose e4. So that's a problem. So how can we open? Why not just taking the pawn? And when you take it, we can move the rook, right? The pawn to d2, d4 can take that, and the pawn will be captured for sure. Yeah, 94, 92. The pawn will be definitely be captured, and the king is quite exposed. This is open. This is open. This is open. We can attack the king in so many ways, and our king is quite safe. We have 3 pawns in front of it, so we should take the pawn. Okay, so black, yeah, so that's the thing. So black should play d4 definitely to close the center. We take that, and in this case, yeah, there is an open file. The rook can attack the queen, and there is another semi-open file. White can open up very easily. Rook d1, yeah, let's see. G3, a bit protect that. But why do we take the pawn? We can move the bishop to d8, right? So we sacrifice a pawn. Black really wants to attack. Exchange. b5. g4. Well, so maybe we are a bit concerned about rook to h8, but I think knight e2 is quite good. We can open up the file and we can control h8. The rook cannot really reach there. And if rook to d7, and we can move our rook, we can attack the c5, and we can attack our opponent, right? And even though rook to h7, we have a lot of ways to defend h3. So g4, the problem is, I mean, if the king wants to stay at the h file, it always have a way, like queen to h4, queen to h7. And the more problem is this is opened, and the opponent can attack our king. We don't need to push g4. Okay, exchange. Well, wait. Okay, so yeah, maybe we need to take that. Otherwise, c5 will be captured. So white has up 1 knight. So white is clearly better. Queen e, bishop e5. Yeah, I think we can take the e6 pawn. Quite good. Check. Yeah, I mean, knight c7. Exchange with the bishop to make it simpler. Okay, we chose a way a bit difficult, I think. Okay, I mean, the rook is protected. But white is still better, but it looks just more difficult to win. h4. Yeah, take the pawn. Yeah, I think white is still winning in this game. Yeah, but maybe you can find an easier way rather than losing a knight, for example. Yeah, so for example, we have a lot of ways to win. In this case, yeah, we can just maybe king e5, yeah, protect the knight, and even further take the pawn and create a pass pawn. That's easier. Yeah. Okay, so I think the thing is, at the beginning, I think black chose a different side attack to push the pawn. It's not a appropriate approach to attack in this battlefield. And white should open up the center. And yeah, so actually if we don't play e4, we take the d5 pawn. That's easier. And when white play e4, black should actually close the center, because the black king is a bit weak on these two files.